let's learn about CommonUI. Okay, so CommonUI is a really fantastic plugin for, can I see them here? For Unreal. And basically it adds a bunch of functionality on top of the existing UI widget stuff that they have. So there's Common, but then there's this CommonUI. And it's not super clear, like here's their components, but I was like just trying to add a button and it didn't have one. Very confused by that. So I had to come in here. Yeah, you have to come in here and you have to make a blueprint, and then you have to derive from, actually I already forgot what it was called. Common button. So there's common button style, that's one thing you can do, but then here it is, common button internal base. And actually, yeah, here's common button base. So no, this one. Yeah, I think this is the one. So you want to create a widget from this, and that is how you can utilize all of their stuff. So you click on this guy, it'll give you, which this isn't really meant to be a tutorial, but I'm just rehashing what I learned. So here's this panel for all of the things that you can do. Now, the main thing that it offers that I've been able to benefit from or tell is it condenses a lot of the behaviors, and it also has this style here. So this style here is a way to like universally change the buttons and stuff like very quickly. It might not work out for my use case, and I'll explain that in a second. So here's the original button. If you come in here, they have very similar things, but at some level, like when it comes to control, like this appearance here, this is kind of what you get. Like you can mess with this, and then there's a style, and so all of these things are just moved out and abstracted so that you can parameterize it in any other button. There was one other thing, the hover effect and stuff like was not as easily implemented. So when I came over to, I think it's this guy, I'm going to designer. So here's the button, I pulled it in. And this guy, when you come down here is when you can start to see the events. So it has like hover and all of that. Now, if I go to, I'll just pull in a new one so I can kind of compare. So we have this button, and then if you come down here, you can see like the event interaction is just different. Like it has a button press, and it has like tooltips. You can sort of get a hover behavior out of it, but not quite. And so I have a example of that here. Actually, I think this is a canvas panel, gear image. Okay, never mind. I did it with an image. So I tried to create like a hover behavior using the tooltip, but then when you hover off, there's no event that fires. So it got a little wacky. So with this, their common UI button, you can get this better, very clear interface for interacting with it, like hover, unhover, which is what I needed to start with. Because I want to change the color and the gear speed when it's being hovered so that it feels more interactive. Okay, so regular button didn't quite cut it. Common UI button, that works nice. Now the image and getting it to rotate. Pulling in fonts was a piece of cake. You just drag and drop it, and then you can create a Common UI text style, which allows you to specify the font, and you can do a lot more, but I just specified the font. Let's see. Okay, so this gear style button. Now here, I started by doing a single material, which was just a plain image, but you can do something more than that. And I might go back to doing this. This is where I'm not sure yet. Now for the image, you can actually use a material. And so I spun up this material here, and this was really exciting. I got it to rotate, and so there is a gotcha though. You got to clamp. If you don't clamp, pull this guy. Yeah, if you don't clamp it, then you get this weird snowflake looking effect. And it's because it's sampling beyond one. And so that's what the clamp does, is it clamps it in. So basically we have, which this is really neat that you just get a free time parameter. That's always a pain in GLSL. You have to pass it in time and then tick it up yourself, but you can just get that for free here. These are parameterized. I was going to try and grab these from the UI and change the direction and stuff of the gear. This text coordinate is just referring to the UV positions, and you can mess with the tiling, but it really just needs to be one. This, I did not write this. This custom rotator came with Unreal, and so that is just gonna, yeah, I don't need to just close. Okay. So this thing will basically just rotate the image. That's really handy because I didn't have to figure that out inside of Blueprints. So that was nice. I just like Googled it, found that function, and that was really nice. So here, so we got this image rotation, and we can change it to the other direction. And we can modify the speed. So that's cool. Control Z is a little finicky, but it works. Okay, so there's that. So we have this. We throw that in the style. Get rid of this one for the gear. And so that's when it's normal. But you can actually just change it when it's hovered and stuff too, which that's pretty neat. So I could do a material instance and then just make a bunch of material instances and modify it. And that's one way to go about this. And so I thought of doing that. Another approach is to handle the hover and trigger animation. So I was fiddling with that, but there's a bit of an issue. And so it looks funny because there's two of them. One is on the button, and that's the material image, but then I have one here to kind of test. I can shrink the size down a little bit to just, so you can kind of see it maybe a little bit better here. So we'll do something like that, so you can just see it. Okay, now CUI button, what you can manipulate, you can't get to the brush underneath the style because it's in another object. So if you come back over here, this doesn't have like an animation panel, or it's basically just a blueprint that's storing all of this data. And in the crop out version, it doesn't even give me a graph. It just says data only blueprint. So I must have did something, either I did something or my Unreal's configured differently where it doesn't, at any rate, it's still just holding data. It's holding all these parameters so that this could use it. So I can't animate the properties in here, but for a regular plain image, I can. So you can pull in the brush material and then look at this. You can mess with the parameters. So it's not, it's challenging because like, I can pull in an image and I can mess with these material parameters and cause it to like rotate in the other direction, for example, which would be kind of handy. Like I already know how to like trigger animations. Or I'm just going to try using the built-in CommonUI method where I just have different material instances, but I don't know performance-wise, like what's better. Like, I don't know if this is like slightly more performant to just, have the non-interactable image sit on this invisible button and then change the material parameters. Like, I feel like that's more performant. And so I'm not going to get into like, optimizing now, but it's always kind of a curious thing in terms of maintenance. Like, I don't know what'll be easier is adding a new animation in here. And I feel like this is overhead, like managing the animations. And so probably what I'll do is I will try to do it their common UI way and just add material instances with like the adjusted parameters. And so when it's hovered, I'll alter the speed and maybe mess with the color, things like that. And I think that'll do. But anyways, this was pretty neat to work with, to like just start to figure it out. And so now I'm getting it all set up, and I'll get some interactivity where we get this menu sliding in, and we'll slowly but surely build this out, and help to start making a C# like blueprint. No, sorry, C# WebSocket uh, like code bundle or module or something, so that I can then expose it to blueprints here and interact with it to get the data from the back end and just like start populating this stuff. So yeah, so getting common UI stuff figured out, and it's going along.